Welcome back, friends. In the last video, I showed you how you can set up a GraphQL server with the help of Express. So in this video, I'll be talking about GraphQL schema and the resolver function. So first thing first, what is a GraphQL schema? So a GraphQL schema is basically the type of data that we want our server to send to the client. Main components, the one is the type and other one is the field. So a type defines that what should be inside that schema. So for example, I'm creating a user type and I want that a user should have a name property and that must be a type of a string, and a user should have an age property also that should be a type of integer. So here I have defined the type of the data that we want. Now let's create a query for that. I will name it as show user and I want the the detail of the user. So for that I will be saying that I want a user from that query. So now I have to make a resolver function for that. And the one thing to note is that the query and the resolver function name should be same. So like this. Now what I want that it send me the data of a user. So let's create a user object. I'll say const and I will say user. Okay, for that I will be returning an object that has the name property as, let's say, Mark, and it has an age of, like, say 20. Now if I go to my browser and if I type that query, that is show users, and now it is saying that the show user of type must have a let me refresh this. Okay, so did you user, so I misspelled that, and now I want the name and the age of that user, and if I hit this key you can see that it is returning me the age and the name of that user. So that's how we can get the data back from a query. Now suppose that we want show user to return an array of users. So for that I will make this as an array and I will create a, so let's copy this and let's paste. Okay, now what I want that this query type users should return me the name and the age of that user, but now this time I want that it returns me the array of the users that we have in our database. So let's query that database. First of all, I want to return an array, so I will spread that and I will say users. Now if I refresh this, so okay, because I'm already in the return statement, sorry, I have to return users. And now if I hit refresh and if I go to our database and if I reload, now you can see that it is sending me the list of all the users that we have in our database. So that's how we can simply query a array from the database. What we have to do, we have to say that we want the type users, but this time we want the array of that user. So we have to put that square bracket inside that type, outside that type, Now let's say we want to fetch the details of the book that a user have. So for that we must define a type for the book. So we can see that a book has a title and an author inside. So in our type book we must have these two fields, a title that must be a type of string and an author that is also a string. Now I want that the user returns me the array of that books that the user have. So for that I'm saying that go to the type book and return me the array of the book that the user have. So now if I refresh and if I go to the GraphQL server and if I refresh it and I for query for a book, so it is auto completed. So if I say I want the title and I want the author field, and if I click on this, and now you can see that a user have name and it has a book field also that has title and the author property. So that's how we query the data from GraphQL. The one thing is to remember that this type query is the entry point for all the queries that we have defined. If we don't define this type here, and if we go to the browser and if we hit refresh, you can see that query root type must be provided. So this is an implicit type in the GraphQL build schema function. So we have to define that also. So that's it for this video. In the next video I will be talking about the mutation and how to pass argument to the queries. So thank you for watching this video.